I'm your host, Jason Tartick, and welcome to Trading Secrets. We talk all things money on this podcast, and we're teaching all the stuff we just weren't taught in the classroom. Nothing supports this show more than liking, commenting, and of course, subscribing. Today, we are sitting down with someone who's turned reality TV fame into a real-life entrepreneurial path. You may know her from Bravo's hit series Summer House, where she quickly became a fan favorite for her candidness, creativity, and unfiltered charm. But Amanda Batula is so much more than just a cast member. She's a designer, creative director, entrepreneur, and someone who is redefining what it means to build a business in the public eye. Co-founding and helping build Loverboy into a standout beverage brand, she's brought her design, sensibility, branding expertise, and sharp instincts to the forefront of the wellness and lifestyle space. Now, as she has eyes on the future, Amanda is expanding her voice beyond reality TV, focusing on new creative projects, digital ventures, signature lines, and launching her own swimwear brand. She is carving out a space that's authentic, intentional, and distinctly hers. Amanda, thank you for joining us on Trading Secrets.
Thank you. That was long-winded. Who wrote that?
This was like just dialed in right there.
I sound extremely impressive.
Well, you are impressive.
Thank you.
You are impressive. And you not only are you impressive, but you are going to get ready for another season of filming.
Yes.
When do you guys film?
This weekend.
So it's like
4th of July.
So
yeah.
This comes out Monday. It's this week you're going.
Yes. Everyone, we always film July and August. And everyone's
Okay.
always like, why are you not out there in June? And they start freaking out. But we always start filming 4th of July weekend.
Okay. There's been a lot of change.
Yeah.
You've talked about it at length. Everyone's talked about it at length. Some people are missing. Paige is gone. How you feeling? Like in general, how you feeling going into it?
I mean, I'm always excited for the summer. I think her absence is definitely going to be felt. Whenever we're in the house and someone's even missing for a weekend, you can feel that they're gone for the most part. So to not have her there all summer is going to be an adjustment. But I think we'll be able to forge ahead. I mean, we have to. We can't be sitting there crying.
Do you feel like pressure, like you got to like bring an extra magnified Amanda to the game now that one of the like big fireworks is missing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm most, we had our little trio with like me, Paige, and Sierra, and that was awesome. And I think that's where we're going to feel the most absence is with the banter between the three of us.
Yeah.
But Sierra and I will do our best.
All right. We'll get into more Summer House for the Summer House fans. Before I get into some of the stuff you're doing before filming, I'm curious, like, do you have any idea who might be joining the house? Like last year, we knew that you had part in bringing Lexi in, right?
Yep.
So do you have part in bringing anyone in? Do you have any type of idea?
We, for the most part, know as much as everyone else does. Whoever
Okay.
has announced that they're not coming back, that's what I know for sure.
Sure.
I do know of one new cast member because it's a friend of ours, of Kyle and mine, but that's as much as I know. Like
Does her name start with a vowel?
It's a man.
It's a man.
It's a guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Been in the public spotlight before?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
Do
I
I
don't.
know him?
I don't think
You
so.
think I know him?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I could tell you later, but
Tell me later.
Yeah.
I actually went on a date with someone 2-3 months ago.
Okay.
And they told me they were casting.
yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if she'll be on.
They've been doing a ton of casting for this new season because there are like a lot of big players that it feels like are out.
Yeah.
I've heard about like 7 different girls that are going to be on the season. I'm like, no way that there's 7 new girls coming on the show. But I've heard rumors about like 7 different people. So I have no idea what to expect.
Well, we can't wait to see. It'll be interesting to see if this person's on. We'll talk about it offline.
Yes.
Let me know what you think of her. And because you actually, when you and Kyle and I were at the bar one day, you were like, you know what, Jason? I need to help you out in this whole dating thing. I'm going to set you straight, so I'll get your opinion on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, let's get out
At
of
least you're still dating.
I'm still dating, yeah.
That's good.
What do you
Going on
mean-
dates?
What do you mean, like I haven't quit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still at it.
I'm throwing it in. I'm out of here. Still giving it a go here.
Yeah.
The old college try. All right, let's get into some of your career stuff before you went on reality TV. So before you were on TV, like what was your first job as far as, I know it was in marketing, creative design. Like what exactly was it? What did it look like? How much you make? Tell us a little bit about
Like
that.
out of college?
Yeah. Or like right before, out of college up until filming.
Yeah, so I started out interning for Rent the Runway.
Okay, cool.
It was paid, but like very little. There was nowhere for me to grow at the time. So then I got a job as a junior graphic designer at L'Occitane.
Okay.
I was probably making, I want to say like $50,000 a year, like, which is not a lot in New York City.
Sure.
And I was able to like get by and manage, but that was my first job. I did that for 5 years.
Wow.
And 3 of those years I was filming Summer House. So I was working a corporate job for 3 seasons of the show.
So the marketing job that you referred to in season 1 was this position.
Yes.
And you're making $50,000 at this point. I assume you're making more than in the show or close to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to get an opportunity like that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was, especially to have that extra income at a point where my paycheck was going to have to go to rent or like clothing and food that month. You know, it was like picking and choosing. So the timing could not have been more perfect for me.
Don't take this the wrong way, because I also apply this to myself.
Yep.
I think if you ask like my best friends in high school, they would be like, that's not a guy for reality TV. I think if you see someone like Paige, they're going to be like, get that girl on reality TV. Did you ever see reality TV in your future? Because you don't strike me as someone that's like, people in high school are like, oh yeah, Amanda's going to be a reality TV star.
No, that was not, I was not nominated in the yearbook for like most likely to be on TV. I fell in love with Kyle. This is not something that I thought I was going to do. I think as a joke, like, I mean, when you're with your friends, you're always joking about, like, we could be on TV. Jersey Shore was really big at the time. We were from New Jersey. But never in my life was I serious about being on television. Glamour came out with an article like 2 years ago, and I think the headline was like the most normal girl on reality TV.
I would
and I was like, is this
was it for
diss?
you?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that.
Which is super flattering. But yeah, I'm not like your cookie cutter reality TV person, which I think is what makes it work for me.
Totally, because it creates that relatability for the person at home that's also not. They see themselves in you.
Yeah, I'm different than a lot of people that you see on the screen.
Yeah, okay. All right, let's get to dollars and cents here. So we're in a really good space with Bravo, so I like to stay in a good space with Bravo. But what I always do that Bravo's cool with is I make these like touch point analogies. So with Brynn Whitfield from Real Housewives, we talked about how much she spends on DoorDash, and she referred her DoorDash money to how much she makes per episode. So with you, I got to do marketing job. So marketing job, $50,000 in your first season, more or less.
I think less. Yeah.
Okay, less, but close. Half.
More than half.
More than half.
Yeah.
Okay, somewhere in that half
Somewhere,
point.
yeah.
Okay, so now in a short period of time, you're having fun, you're falling in love, life is good, you're making a couple bucks. Now you're a reality TV star. You get the money in your bank account. What is the first thing you spend money on that you're just like, I'm doing it. Let's go. What is it?
This is crazy. I bought a leather briefcase for Kyle.
That was your first purchase?
It was $500.
This is the most Amanda shit I've ever heard.
I know. I've never spent that much money at the time on anything.
What brand was it?
I don't even know. It was like this. It was sleek. Kyle was working on like Join Phoenix at the time. I think he might have been starting Loverboy. I can't remember. And I was just so excited that he was taking this like entrepreneurial journey. And I wanted to buy him like a nice briefcase so he could ride around the city on a city bike. So I spent $500, of which I probably shouldn't have even spent at the time, on him for like a birthday gift. And that was
your
my
first
big
splurge.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you want to know what my second big splurge was?
What?
I just bought it
I was going to ask you about
last week in Cannes, my Miu Miu bag. I don't buy designer. I don't spend a ton of money. This was like a reward for all of the hard work that I've been doing.
Keep this thing up. I'm not done with this. This is Miu Miu, okay?
This is Miu Miu.
I got
added
questions.
all these things.
I got questions.
Okay.
Especially as a single guy that might have to get in this whole game of gift giving at some point here.
Okay.
Miu Miu, how much does this thing cost? Actually, let me guess. Because that looks, I think it's a fancy ass brand if I remember right.
Yeah.
10 grand?
No.
5
Less.
grand?
Less.
4 grand?
Yeah, it was around
$4,000.
4, which
Okay.
isn't bad.
Not bad.
Miu Miu is a reasonably priced.
Time out. You're not done with this thing.
Okay.
What are these little things? How much do these things cost?
I got these like off Amazon or something.
Oh, wow.
So just
okay.
like
Love
this
it.
is a Miu
Link
Miu
it,
one.
LTK. Let's
But
go.
yeah, they're just fun little like keychain. I don't know, decorating the bag.
Okay, before we go, there's something in that bag I put an Instagram story out there and I was like, tell me what you want me to ask Amanda. And they all kept saying Lafufu, Lafafa.
Do you want to meet him?
What is, oh shit, this is the Japanese thing. Yeah. Oh my God, I've heard all about this.
Do you want to meet him?
Yes.
This is Gwegui.
Wait, is this a real one?
No, okay, so Labubus are this like their stuffed animal thing. I don't really get it.
Yeah.
I see it all over TikTok.
I was reading a thing on Wall Street Journal about these.
Yeah, and they became so popular that people are reselling them, but now some of the resellers are making fake ones, and they've now have the name Lafufu instead of Labubu because they're fake. I got bamboozled, and I ended up buying a fake one.
Wait, did you know it was fake?
No, I did not.
Fuck? So this is the whole thing.
This is my Lafufu.
I have read so many Wall Street Journal things about these, but I don't. Let me see this thing. Okay, it's not like a Tamagotchi. It doesn't talk to you.
No, it's literally just like a stuffed toy with a vinyl face that girls are putting on their bags and keychains.
Why? What is it?
I don't know.
What is it?
I have no idea. I think that there's like a K-pop star that started putting it on her bags,
and
they sort of just like
no,
it's so
ratchet.
Ratchet. Look at the face; it's like oval.
Yeah, this thing's busted.
It's supposed to be round. No, there's so many things wrong with it. $15, which I think that they go for like 15 to 20, but resale you can buy a blind box for up to like $100 resale.
Interesting.
And I was like, I'm not doing that. But this is my Lafufu.
That's unbelievable. All right, there's a Lafufu, $15 you got ripped off, but hey,
yeah,
where'd you buy it from?
There's a good story. Just some like website. I trust TikTok too much, honestly.
What?
I should stay off
I'm
of that.
just curious, like I had the guy who sent me all this information about this, it actually works for the podcast. He's like a crypto bro.
Yeah.
Keep Fufu out here, actually. Let him join us. We got Loverboy and the Fufu thing. But he's like in the know. How did you come across this?
TikTok.
Okay.
Just TikTok.
Interesting.
It comes up on my TikTok. I'm chronically online. I don't know. I get hit with like the most random things on my For You page, and I'm obsessed with it. And I kept seeing these unboxings, and I was like, I need to unbox one of these.
Of all the questions, when do you have kids? Where are you moving? All the shit that people want to know, the gossip. This was literally the top one.
Yeah. No, it's been a whole journey. We're on a journey to get me a real Labubu.
You're on a journey. I love it.
Got to know someone.
If anybody knows someone out there, and don't get ripped off round two, $15 will get you a long way. Let's go back to before the show. So 50,000, you're making somewhere in this 25, 50,000, you're starting to get some fame. What was, and we talk a lot about this with all different guests, but like what was your dependence on your family to help you survive in the city and financially and things like that? What did it look like, and when and if did you separate from that?
So I moved, I graduated college. I lived home for about a year while I was interning in the city. So I was commuting back and forth to New Jersey, and then I got my job at L'Occitane. And that's when I moved into the city. And once I moved out of my parents' house, they cut me off. Everything except for my phone bill, which my dad still pays to this day. Just the family plan, it makes sense. But they cut me off right then and there.
Interesting.
But paying rent, figuring out, balancing my finances.
You're still on the phone plan right now?
Yeah, I'm still on the phone plan right now.
Okay.
The family plan. Yeah, he was like, does Kyle want to join?
Do you plan as Kyle on?
Kyle's like AT&T. I'm on Verizon.
Gotcha. Confession. I'm still on my parents' plan, 36.
Yeah.
Just I haven't done the work and I don't want to lose my 716 numbers, but
exactly.
I Venmo them every.
I'm like grandfathered in. I feel like if I could still be on my parents' health care, they'd be paying, helping me out too.
You know what's embarrassing though? Is like sometimes, all right, I'm single, right?
Mm-hmm. You are?
Yeah. Someone gives me shut up. Someone gives me a number. This is unbelievable. It's like my sister over here. Someone gives me their number and then I call them. It says Gary Tartick. You gotta put that on my cat.
Wait, why?
Because it's still under his thing.
But so is mine, and mine doesn't come up like that.
I gotta figure Verizon.
You gotta figure that out.
Yeah, Verizon.
Like, who's this man calling me?
Who is Mr. Gary Tartick?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Why is Jason's dad calling me?
Yeah, this is so weird. What a setup.
It's a little too soon to meet the family.
Yeah, that's too soon. All right, so you're
living
cut me
at
off.
Home.
They cut you off. But I have a question though. What does you're cut off? What does being on mean? Like, did you get credit cards? Did they give you a monthly stipend?
I had jobs in high school and college. That was like the money that I would spend. But for anything considered like a necessity, so food. Yeah. And then obviously I would spend it on alcohol too. Unless I was with my parents, it was mostly like food and stuff. But I did have to tap into my family maybe like a small handful of times to help pay rent those first few years that first year when I was figuring it out.
Sure.
My dad's like, Amanda, your bank account was low. I was like, oh man, that's crazy. I actually have to pay rent.
How'd that happen?
But it wasn't his money that he was sending me. It was my own money that I had
Saved
from like,
up,
that he would put into my account. So I technically was financially independent at that point.
Since then, have you ever had to go back to ask for anything and or even ask them to like invest in one of your projects?
I haven't had to ask for anything. My favorite thing to do now is like pay for dinner when we go out with my parents and like slip my card to the waiter.
Yeah.
That's like a really fun thing, that like a time in my life now where I'm able to pay for their meal instead of them paying for me. But no, the only thing they've invested in is Loverboy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Loverboy, you were the face of Loverboy, and I'm just curious. Kyle came on the podcast. We could probably roll the clip back right now. He was very adamant in his first episode that he came on about how serious he was about giving people equity.
Yeah.
And like how serious they had to be to the company for him to do it. And it was a hard thing for him to do. Do you have equity in the company, and what did that look like?
That is a tricky question for me to answer, because I do have equity. I did not invest. My equity was, a sweat equity. It's the time that I put in. But there is something that happened like once we got married that I got some sort of thing. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Okay. And fair. I probably should. I just trust that man too much so. But yeah, he waited until we got married, and then I got equity somehow that way.
Okay, we're going to talk about love and money and all the different things that you guys do. While we're on this topic, real touch, do you have, I ask every guest this isn't specific to you, but do you have a take on like prenups and like what happens with all this stuff before or after?
Yes, so I messed up. I messed up major. I don't know if it was like the movies that you would watch growing up or the tabloids, but prenup had such a negative connotation. Mm-hmm. It was connected to divorce. It always felt so messy. You would see like celebrities and prenup this and prenup that, and it just didn't feel like a smart thing to do. So we didn't sign one. Everyone should sign a prenup. Okay. Let me tell you now.
Yeah.
Protect your assets for them to protect theirs. Like, you have no idea what's going to happen. You think that you're in love and happy now, it could end really messy, and then what? You're screwed. Like,
true.
I think prenups, it's just, someone explained it to me. It's like you get health insurance, not because you think you're going to get sick, but it's at the chance that you do. Mm-hmm. So same thing with a prenup. It's not like because you're preparing for divorce. It's in case something happens, you want to have that security.
True.
So everyone should get a prenup. Hear it from the girl that didn't get one.
Hear it from the girl that didn't get one. But if you look at your success and trajectory since saying I do,
I should have protected my assets.
All right, just say it. Moving on up. Rocket is on your back, and you are killing it. One thing I'm curious about is, I've been in relationships where work and kind of like love intersect, and it's really, really hard. And it's also really hard to find kind of roles within that. And we've seen it on TV, some of those struggles unfold between you and Kyle. Where do you stand today with like the roles and responsibilities within the business, outside the business? Do you have hard rules on how to deal with it, et cetera?
Yeah, our rules have always been very fluid. There is nothing that's like set in stone. We tried really hard to do like the working together on a daily basis thing. We just took each other's criticism too personally. Like, if he had an issue with something that like me and my team were working on, I would take offense to it. If I was complaining about a struggle that I was having within the company, he would take that very personally and feel like I was attacking him.
Yeah.
We were just too close to home.
Totally.
We did it for a while. We were also like living in our apartment that we were working out of, and it was just the two of us. And I feel like it wasn't the best start to like working together. It was during the pandemic.
Sure. That's a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was tough. And there was a while where it was working really well, and until it wasn't, I think until things got busier. But for me now, I've like separated myself. So I work on projects from more of like a high level. Anything that's new, any big collaborations, any, new products that we're doing, new packaging, new branding, anything like that, I'm on. I'm overseeing, I'm hands-on. Everything else, the day-to-day, like once I've done that part of it, it's the rest of the team. So that way I don't have to work every single day with Kyle. I don't have to tell him what's going on. Like, someone else can do that.
In the company, like in Loverboy, do you report to Kyle? Like what is the org chart
this
look
was a
like?
whole conversation. Yeah. So when I was working every single day, I was like, I'm not reporting to you. You're not my boss. And he's like, okay, well, you report to Nick then, our COO. And I was like, well, Nick reports to you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Now you're just another
we live together. We're with each other 24/7. I'm not going to like tell Nick what's going on in my day to day. Like it just felt like I was being treated as more of an employee than his partner and spouse, which when we started it, it was like he was the business side and I was taking on the creative side of things. And I never wanted to be his employee. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not reporting to someone. I was like, if you have an issue with me, I'm your wife, talk to me. Like it shouldn't be like we shouldn't have to do it like in a, you know.
You have to like set up a one-on-one with
Kyle. And then there were like annual reviews too that they kept asking me to schedule an annual review. And I said, if you want me to review you as my husband every single year, I'm happy to do an annual review about Loverboy. Otherwise, we're not doing that. And he said, okay, fine.
So did you ever do an annual review? There's no documented
No, there's nothing.
Review. So you report to no one?
No, I report to no one.
Yes. And this little Timu thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what? Not Timu thing.
Lafufus.
Sorry.
His name is Gwegui.
Gwegui?
Someone I asked my... I feel like he says it like this, like Gwegui.
All right, there we go. Zoom in on that. All right, we're almost done with Loverboy talk. Okay. I just have a couple more questions. Another thing Kyle talked about when he came on the episode was like how he pays people salary, equity shares, all this. How do you get compensated? Because that's a topic that was discussed a little bit on the show too.
Yeah, so I wasn't paid at all at first, which I was, you know, I'm trusting his word and, you know, he's saying this is how it's going to go. We're not going to take a salary and it's going to pay off in the long run. So at first I wasn't salaried. Then we started making some money, then a little bit more. And now that I've taken a step back, I think I'm paid just enough to cover my health insurance.
Okay, gotcha.
Because I'm making money in other ways.
Right,
and I'm not a part of the business every single day.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, if I get health care, then.
Okay.
So that's me right now. Technically working for free.
Well, Evan and I own a business together, and we haven't taken salary since 2020. So I get where he's coming from. I'm backing Kyle. I'm backing you up here, my man. I'm backing you up.
And I never argued it either. I was like, okay, I'm just trusting where you're taking me with this, and that will eventually get in there.
Last question I got too. How much did you put into the design?
So.
Like what's right here?
Yeah.
What was your work?
See that little purple spot?
Colors.
No. So we worked with an agency to design the logo and the cans.
Okay.
They would give us like different directions. I was very hands-on in directing what this looked like. I would get back like the drafts of the different directions we could go in. I would combine them. I would merge them. I would tell them exactly what I wanted it to look like.
Okay.
So I was extremely hands-on. I wasn't actually creating it, but I was telling them, like, I want to combine direction 1 and direction 2. I want to pull this. I don't like this on the logo. Like, I had a ton of say, but my strong suit isn't branding necessarily or, like, logo creation. So I let someone who's a professional do that, and then I just was very... very hands-on in what it looked like.
I love it. Last question we got as I'm going to open this up. What is a number? Do you have a number like in your head that you're like, I would love Kyle to sell it for this amount? This is the dream.
I don't. 500 million.
Kyle. Yeah.
Cheers.
You got big shoes to fill, my man.
You asked for a number.
I asked for a number, and something tells me having big shoes to fill is the standard. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
It's not my business, luckily.
It's not your business.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into creator a little bit. So it's a huge part of your business right now. And so from a creator perspective, when you think about filming, doing creative design, you have obviously your swimwear, you have all these different identities and different career paths. In the creator space, like what is your take on it? What's your relationship with this area of your life and income now?
Yeah, I feel like I was hesitant to get involved for a while. There was a point in time where I felt like it was extremely oversaturated and everyone was just selling anything that they could.
Sure.
You know, it felt super inauthentic. So when I did choose to get involved, I wanted my stuff to like feel different than what other people were doing.
You were very late to the
So
game.
late.
So was Kyle,
Yeah,
too.
I mean, we just started like a year ago.
Yeah.
Like really started.
And that the reason behind that was just like did it have anything to do with not knowing like the business and income potential, or was it just like we want to stay away, we're good?
No, I knew the potential, but maybe not the extent of the potential, but I was aware that like people were buying homes and cars just being like Instagram influencers.
Sure.
But for me, I just didn't. I would see other creators like everyone's selling the same stuff, doing things that like they wouldn't actually use or they wouldn't be caught dead wearing, and I was like, I don't want to be a sellout.
Yeah.
But I was able to find a great team and make it work where I'm able to work with brands that it is very authentic for me and it's easy and natural for me to talk about. I've made the mistake of working with brands that it wasn't authentic, and I don't know how to speak about it. I don't know how to sell you something that I don't even want to buy myself.
So this is kind of like uncovering the influencer creator world a little bit. What are some things that you think about because deals come to you, right? And I'm sure they're sizable. Like, what are some things you think about to say, okay, I see the paycheck, but how do you evaluate?
Oh yeah, I've turned down plenty of deals
What's
before.
like the biggest dollar amount you've turned down?
Maybe in like the 100,000.
Wow, 6-figure deal. And why'd you turn it down?
It just didn't make sense for me. It didn't feel authentic. It wasn't something that I used or would use. And that's a big thing for me. Again, if it's not a product that I currently use, a brand that I currently purchase, or something that I could see myself incorporating into my lifestyle, I'm not going to do it.
And even if it's 6 figures, like, I won't find it.
No, because I pride myself on honesty and authenticity, and I think that's a big part of reality TV also is always being truthful. So I want to continue that. Even though I'm doing these brand deals and selling stuff, I'm not going to sell you something that I don't use.
True. I love it. And that's why people connect with you, right? Let's talk about, you said no to a 6-figure deal. Let's talk about the big deal. What's like been the biggest lucrative? What's your Grammy of a deal you've done from the influencer space?
The biggest deal I've done so far was with Face Reality, which is an acne skincare brand.
Obviously, you used it before.
Yeah. No, I hadn't. So this is one where it made sense for me. I was dealing with breakouts.
Okay.
I did my research on the company. I saw real reviews, real people that used it. They saw actual results from it. And I was like, okay, this makes sense. I have acne. I'm breaking out. I can use this product to help solve an issue I have. And it felt authentic and real. So even though I wasn't using it beforehand, it was something that I was going to incorporate in my life. And I still use it to this day. The reason it was my biggest deal was because it was, I think, the longest. It was like a 6 or 8 month deal.
Damn.
I think I'm still doing it right now.
I think you are. You're killing it, though.
Thank
I
you.
love it. Let's go.
It's a lot of travel, a lot of events, a lot of stuff. It's been like a great experience. But yeah, that's been my biggest one.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
You.
So I actually saw that deal. And then in preparation for this podcast, I was going through your Instagram. I'm looking at all the deals you did. And I saw an Instagram post with Swiffer. I worked with Swiffer. They're the best. I'm a Swiffer fan myself. But tell me a little bit. Let's get specific behind one brand collaboration. So, what's the story behind that? What made you say yes to working with them? Was it the product? Was it the integration with your pets? Like, give us a little, behind the scenes of a specific deal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of everything. So this is a great example of a brand that I was already purchasing. I already had Swiffer in my home. I had the mop, the wet mop. I had the dry cloths. I had, the Swiffer dusters. I had everything. So this was authentic for me. It's like, why not promote something that I already use? And then the best thing about it, it wasn't just promoting something that I already used. They had like the newest innovation in 25 years. It's called the Swiffer Sweep and Mop Deluxe.
Okay. Wait, I haven't heard this.
Yes. So it has a collapse. So you can do the dry cloths and the wet cloths both on one stick.
I've heard the dry and the wet. And then you do the dry first?
Yeah, dry first and then the wet. Okay. And then it has a collapsible stick too, which I love because living in an apartment, it's great when you don't have a ton of storage. So everything sort of just seemed to align for me.
Yeah.
And it's so much better to have like one cleaning tool than multiple.
That
and especially
sense.
When you can just store it under your sink and not a closet. So it totally made sense for me to do because it was a product that I was already using, and now I can get rid of all the other mops and brooms and sweepers and whatever I have at my
Pack
closet
your bags
because I
for
got
the
a
Summer
2-in-1.
House, too.
Yeah,
that can come with you. All right, one thing I always think about from a creator perspective is the process of making content. So when you're thinking about making content like this, so you use it already, but then you actually have to make the content. There's people listening to this right now. They own a business, they own a small business, or they're trying to make content for themselves, but they struggle with like integration of something they already use. So when you're making the content, what is the thought process behind the creative branding of Amanda, and then what's important to you when you're building the actual creative concept of it?
This is the thing that I probably struggle with the most. I sit and like stare at my phone for hours thinking.
Do you really?
Not for hours, but like for a while. I mean, sometimes Julie won't hear from me because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to edit it. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. And then once it comes to me, it just flows. Again, I think the best thing is fitting it into your life naturally, not trying to make your content look like other people's.
Okay.
Really staying true to who you are. And I think that that's why I love that they wanted my dogs involved in it, because that's a huge part of my life. So to be able to film with the dogs is so easy. And honestly, the easiest content I make is when a brand wants me to involve my dogs, because I'm like, okay, I'll sit on the couch with my dogs. Like, that's so easy.
You're doing it anyway.
Yeah,
right?
no, literally.
Exactly. Is it hard to film with them, Recent Rider?
They're not the best,
Yeah.
but they have to pay their way, so they have to do it one way or the other.
I'm a huge dog guy myself. I rescued Teddy.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes, he's the best. He is the best. But
you got him back from training recently.
I just got him back.
I'm
from
glad
training.
you did that. We did training camp too.
Did you
with
do
our
it too?
dogs. Yeah.
There was a lot of like my vet, the group that I rescued the dog from, Wags and Walks, and the trainer I was working with individually, all were like, this is the place to go. He has to go. Based on his reactivity, you don't really have a question.
Yeah.
He has come back a totally different dog.
It's incredible what
so
they're
much
able
happier.
to do.
Like,
yeah.
he is way happier.
Well,
Did you find a big difference in it?
Yeah, dogs want, like, they want that direction. They need to be sort of guided.
Yeah.
So giving him those like rules and structure makes for a happier dog. He needs to see you as a leader.
It's like,
and if you're just rolling around in the mud all day, you're just a pal.
I don't
he needs
know.
a leader.
It's like therapy for dogs. He's got traumas. We got to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually found the hardest thing about it after he got back was that I had to learn how to be a good parent to him.
Yeah.
Right? Like in the right commands and the consistency and everything. So as much as he got trained, I had to get trained.
Exactly. Because he's looking to you to lead him
exactly.
and direct him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
no, it's incredible.
You can't beat it.
When I took my dogs, we found out that they're back of the pack dogs.
Interesting.
Like,
I was going to ask you, what's the most thing that surprised you? Is this it?
He was like, they're definitely not front of the pack. They're not even middle of the pack. You have 2 back of the pack dogs. And we get videos of them on their like pack walks.
Yeah.
And my 2 are in the back.
I think our dogs would get along because mine is the opposite.
Oh, really?
He has to be, so he looks like a golden, he's not. He's Anatolian, he's German, he's Chow Chow, he is a Great Pyrenees. He's only 2% golden. So when he gets in, if he came in here, he would have to sniff, before he could say hello to anybody, he would have to sniff the whole perimeter of everything so that like he understood his place.
Damn.
And even with walking him, they're like, listen, he'll listen to you, here's how it's going to work, but he always is going to be all over the place because his sniffing is what creates, because he's a guard dog.
Yeah.
He has to, like, it's part of his DNA. You can't help it.
No, my
so
little
our dogs
Reese
would be friends then.
My little Reese just barks at everything and everyone. So,
okay, I love it. Well, you're giving me an opportunity to throw a chirp at Kyle. I got to throw a chirp at Kyle. We talked about Swiffer. We've talked about the dogs. We've talked about work, equity, creativity, ownership, who you're reporting to. On the topic of cleaning, I'm just curious. How is Kyle as a cleaner at home? Does he participate? Does he report to you? Do you report to him in the cleaning department?
Yes and no. Okay. So when we first moved into the apartment, I was like eager and willing to clean. Like I would, be cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the kitchen, like really getting into it. And he'd be like, don't clean that. We'll hire someone to do it.
Okay.
It's still
he's an outsourced guy.
Yeah, he's an outsourced guy, but I've never seen him pick up a duster once in my life. So like I'm doing the in-between cleanings for sure. But he washes the dishes.
Fair.
He takes down the trash and the recyclables.
All right.
So
can't beat you up too bad, Kyle.
But he's not like, he's just doing daily chores. He's not doing like cleaning. Like I've never seen that man use Windex.
Yeah.
You know?
You're running the show for Reese and Ryder. Before I kind of get off the topic of dogs, a couple questions for you. One, and I think this is a really important one. You rescued 2.
Yes.
And rescuing is a huge task. Rescuing 2 is an even larger task. What advice would you give to anybody that's thinking about the process of rescuing dogs?
Yeah, you have to give them time to adjust.
Yeah.
I think even if you have a brand new puppy that has like no trauma, the puppy phase is one of the hardest phases. It lasts for like 3 years almost. It's chaotic, and I think that's when a lot of dogs will get returned or abandoned because they don't know what to expect. But you have to give the dog time. I think when I fostered, these two were my third time fostering, and we ended up adopting them. But with the first 2 dogs we fostered, we had to give them time to adjust and warm up. And it wasn't until the end of those 2 weeks that we had them that their personalities just start to come out. So when you're adopting, you have to be patient with the dog. You have to understand boundaries and give them time to warm up, and their personalities will come out and they will shine and they'll figure it out. But you can't just expect to adopt a dog and it come home and it's going to be like your best friend right away.
Yeah, it takes time. I think they say that you need to be with them like pretty much every single day at almost every moment. 3 days is when they start to get to know you. 3 weeks is when they start to get an idea of their home. After 3 months of consistency, they're really in. I think while scouring your Instagram, I saw that you were doing some work with a shelter.
Yes.
And I don't know. Tell me a little bit, because I'm like a huge proponent of all rescue. So like in shelters too, they play huge roles. Tell me a little bit about that.
So it was with Swiffer, and that was the shelter. I went with Swiffer. So another reason I really wanted to work with Swiffer is because they love pets just as much as I do. They're a huge proponent for it. I mean, they even have like pet heavy duty dry cloths and pet heavy duty wet cloths, like specific for animals. Okay. And then they work with NSALA. Cool. So that's why I went there, and I cleaned up. I played with puppies. I filmed some content. It was really fun. And one of my favorite stories actually from that experience is I posted some videos before, because we had so much content from that day, because I was just playing with puppies for like 2 hours.
Tough job.
Yeah. No. Content creation is so hard. So I posted some of the cute videos that I had of the dogs that I knew I wouldn't be using in my content. And one of my followers ended up adopting the one dog because she saw it on my story.
That is incredible.
And she sent me a photo, and now I get to follow this dog's journey, and they're just like the cutest little family, and it's the perfect thing. But I love that. Like, I loved fostering. Fostering is so rewarding to be able to give that dog, show it love, and then give it to someone else. And this sort of reminded me of that. Like, I was with the dog for an hour. Yeah. But I grew so attached, and I was like, I helped this dog find a home, and I think that's really awesome. So now I get to watch the puppy grow up.
You can't beat that. NSALA, right? And
yes.
It's Swiffer's partner. I think that's awesome. And shelters are just such an important piece of the puzzle with rescuing. And like Teddy was at a shelter that was overcrowded, and it's all based on time. So if he was there another week, he would have been euthanized because of overcrowding.
Well, the great thing about NSALA is they're a no-kill shelter.
Wow.
And I think that's, I mean, I'm not speaking for Swiffer, but I assume that's part of the reason that they work with them.
Good
is
for
because,
NSALA.
You're like, LMNOP.
LMNOP, because it's a lot different in the South. So
all of our rescues and fosters came from the South.
Wow. Yeah. Amazing. I love it. All right. Yep. Well, now we got to transition to what everyone's been waiting for, a little bit of Summer House talk here.
Okay, let's go.
So let's just talk about, like, when you go into this season after last season, what is your biggest concern? What is one thing from last season you didn't expect that you're like, this season I have to adjust? We've seen a lot of adjusting, by the way, right?
Yeah.
We saw Jesse go from A to Z. We saw Wes go from Z to A. Like, people adjust season to season. What are you thinking about?
Nothing. I have no thoughts.
Come on. You got to, there's trolls, there's noise, there's good, there's high, there's low. There's no thoughts?
No thoughts. I've been doing this for 9 years now. At this point, it's like, if you don't like me, then you just don't like me. I think last summer was actually one of my best summers ever. I was on my antidepressants for 5 months at that point. Okay. I was feeling really good going into the summer. I think I was my lightest and best that I've ever been last summer. So I'm not going to change that.
You've talked a lot about this. Even I listened to a podcast and prep for this. You're getting ready for your wedding, and you said you cried almost every day leading up to your wedding, right? And on the show, you've talked about the mental highs and lows, and you just brought up antidepressants. So talk to me about it's been a journey for you.
Yeah.
So from a mental health perspective, if you had to summarize the journey, how would you summarize it? And what has been the number one contributor to your overall sense of calm, peace, and happiness?
Yeah, I think the hardest part is going through it. When you're in it, you don't realize you're sort of in it. And as soon as you realize that like you're struggling and you need help, that's the moment that you should take action, because it immediately changes your life. Like I feel like part of the reason I wasn't really doing content creation was because I was depressed, and any little task overwhelmed me and was so daunting for me. And now that I've changed that, it's like changed my whole world.
Really?
Like the fact that I was traveling so much last month and doing so many brand partnerships and deals it's 180 from where I was this time, or like 2 years ago.
Because the depression paralyzed you?
Yeah.
And so has the antidepressant been one of the key contributors?
I think that is the key contributor. And I try to do other things. I attempt to go on walks. I attempt. I'm not a very active girl. I try to do other things, but like I'm more social now with my friends and stuff too. I'm more responsive. I try to like not back out of plans, and just getting out there is super helpful, and reconnecting with my friends, because I cut a lot of people off. I just like was sad.
Depression.
Yeah, I just didn't want to talk to anyone. It was overwhelming. So yeah, I think the medication, it really has like pushed me. I should be going to therapy too. We're still working on that.
Okay, I got a question. I'm getting in the weeds a little bit, and have been very open about my journey towards it. I went to a psychiatrist, met with them, and then they diagnosed me. For you to get to the point where you're like, okay, this is what I need, and this is what's going to change my life, like what direction? Was that through like a general doctor? Was it a psychiatrist? Was it a friend? Like what was like the thing? If someone's hearing this and they're like, I need the next step. Because I don't even know where to get prescribed. But what was the next step for you, or the first step?
So for me, going to see a doctor was a huge hurdle. Like I was feeling so low that the idea of like finding a doctor, calling someone, like making an appointment, getting dressed, leaving my apartment was too much for me. So I filled out a questionnaire. I thought I had anxiety. So I'm ready to get like anti-anxiety medication.
Sure.
The questionnaire, the whatever, I complete it, it comes back, it says that like you're moderately to severely depressed. And I was like, what?
Well, shit.
I was like, no, I'm anxious. They're like, no, you're depressed, and we're sending you medication right now. So that first medication, I didn't have to leave my apartment. And that was like huge for me, to just be able to sit on my couch and do that and get prescribed a medication. It got me off the couch. It got me like filming during the summer. It got me to do what I needed to do. And then I went and saw a psychiatrist as well to help figure out like the perfect medication for me, and one that works, and just make sure that like is it anxiety, is it depression?
Wow. There's interesting intersection between anxiety, depression, and then like ADHD too. And what's interesting is like the prescripts for all those can do like night and day, like way different things. So finding out like specifically what it is,
it's hard.
Yeah, it's a different ball game out there. Speaking about different ball game, you're going into this season. When this season's over and wraps, you look back at this season. What do you want your brand to be? What do you want like your thing to be this season?
That is a tough question. So what's funny is I go into every summer with no expectations. Like I don't know if I'm a producer's dream or a producer's worst nightmare, because I have no storyline. Like they asked me like, what's going on in your life? Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you see for yourself this summer? And I was like, nothing. And I just like go with the flow, and shit always falls in my lap. So and I think that's also sort of what makes me different too, is I'm not thinking about like what my journey is going to look like. I'm just on the ride.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the end of the summer is going to look like for me. It's going to be a mystery to all of us.
A lot of your pressure, it feels like, I could be wrong, but they're going to want to know what's next with you and Kyle.
Yeah.
Where are you living? Are you having kids? Are you getting another dog? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like, are you prepared to step into that?
Yes and no. I'll tell you a secret. Well, I don't know if I've talked about this before. So we filmed a scene where Kyle and he's asking me about like kids, and I was like, I don't even know if I want kids anymore. Well, the reason I said that is because I'm so tired of being asked, when are you going to have kids?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know when.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I want to have kids, and now stop asking me about it.
Get away.
I want kids.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know when I'm going to have them. Okay. I just don't know what that looks like for us right now. Eventually I want kids, but yeah, I mean, Kyle's out DJing. Kyle's gone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
How am I supposed to, like, I don't want to be a single mother. I'm happy to do it, but like, I don't want to be married and have the responsibility of a husband while also being a single mom. You know what I mean?
True. Well, he might have to cut some of those DJ
while
gigs
he's out partying and drinking. Not like if he was like doing hard work or like off at war, like certain things like I'd understand, but I'm not trying to raise kids by myself while he's, you know, at the club.
I feel like you guys have always had a pretty good dynamic with just like, you understand that's what his, like, he enjoys that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, whatever. Where a lot of relationships don't. I remember when last summer, I think we were there, and you guys were filming and everyone's together, and then we came to the club and you guys were all gone. I was like, I remember saying, I was like, is Amanda like cool with this? And he's like, yeah, she doesn't care. She's good with it.
Get him out of my hair. Yeah, send him away. Like, get him to the club.
Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Let him go.
No,
right,
literally.
That's a good balance.
Yes. No, and I know that he needs that. You know, I know that he needs to socialize, and he knows that I need to not socialize.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So I'm like, if you're with people that like I feel safe with, then like, go out, do your thing.
Okay, I love it. Couple more questions on Summer House. There's been some noise by the haters and trolls. They're saying they need to revamp the whole cast. Mm-hmm. They need to start fresh. I'm sure you've seen it. What's your response to that?
You know, the grass is always greener. You know, let us just like do our thing. We have some things in progress. Yeah. We're figuring out a game plan to make everyone happy. But, you know, Summer House is always going to stay true to Summer House, and it's going to be about partying.
Sure.
And that just means like I won't be able to do it forever. Yeah. Like I should have quit 5 years ago.
Speaking of quitting, let's talk about it. We talked business here. Paige has built an empire, of course. I mean, do you think it was a good business move for her to make this move?
Yeah. I mean, yes, she has so much going on. It's like not that she doesn't need the show, but she doesn't have to lean on the show for, you know, publicity or to be in the public eye or to, you know, be able to continue growing her own brand and her brands. Mm-hmm. So I think the girl needed a break.
Yeah.
And I respect that a ton. She has so much going. I think she sits in this chair. Exactly.
Does she?
I think this is
this for a Giggly Squad?
Yeah.
Okay, it is.
This is so.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who gets to see the industry from the forefront and behind the scenes, she's one of the most right now like demanded people to work with out there. So I can imagine how much she's getting pulled. As are you, by the way. Is this surprising to you? What's happened with Summer House?
Yeah.
It feels like in the last year, Summer House went from just transparently like a
silly little show.
I would say like a geographically niched show.
Yes.
Like it was a New York thing. In LA, they didn't know shit about it. Like in the Midwest, no. Now, countrywide, people are talking about Summer House at a much higher level and much more engaged level than they are The Bachelor, which used to once upon a time be the show.
Yep.
Is that surprising to you?
Yeah. I think our show is what we call on the bubble for so long, whether it was like, will it or won't it? Like, are we going to get another season? We don't know. I think during the pandemic, people were looking for something to watch.
Yeah.
We were one of the only shows that filmed during the pandemic because we were literally locked in our house. Yeah. So people caught up on all the seasons, you know, during the pandemic. They were able to start watching, getting into it. And I think the past 2 years, this past season, it's really blown up.
Huge.
Like, so unexpectedly.
On TikTok,
like,
it's been ripping.
People are shocked when I tell them I've been doing this for 9 years.
Yeah.
You're like,
what?
It hasn't been one?
Wait a second.
I thought it was just your first season. I'm
like,
no, it's been 9 years of this. And I mean, walking around New York, people barely ever stop me.
Yeah.
Recently, I get stopped more frequently than ever. I just went and got a haircut. I got stopped three different times, like on my way to my Uber.
Yeah.
It's
blown up.
It's gotten really big, and I never saw it coming.
Last Summer House question I got for you. You mentioned Paige sits there.
I was like, are you holding my hand?
What's
hands.
Happening? I need your help, sister. I'm lost. I'm depressed. No, but Paige sits over there. Yep. That means Hannah sits here, and it reminds me of like past cast members. If there were a couple people you could bring back onto the show, given all the moving parts that happens over the years, who are some of the past cast members you'd like to see back on?
Paige.
No, not including Paige.
Okay. I mean, we always talk about, would love, I know Hannah would never do the show. I would love, like, you know, to have, even with Sierra too, that foursome, I think, would be so strong and so iconic.
That foursome, you guys can have your own show.
Yeah, for sure. Maya, I miss her a ton. She was always like very witty, very fun, very straight to the point, very honest. I've actually seen, ever since Luke left the show, we still keep in touch with Luke too. He's always
resurgence.
He's always building shit.
I see him
and
at
like,
the bar randomly.
yeah,
I'm like, you're looking good. You take it like, what's going on? You getting ready for something?
He's also aging backwards.
He's
I'm
aging
like
backwards.
him and Kyle. I'm like, what are you guys
Kyle
drinking?
Too. Kyle's like on it.
No, it's
Kyle
insane.
doesn't age at all.
No, I'm like, I gotta go get Botox and shit.
Like you said, he rips. Like Kyle rips. So like,
no,
you think
it's in his genes. It's
incredible.
Ridiculous.
It.
But
so maybe Luke.
Maybe Luke.
Maya.
Yep. Hannah. Everyone loves Andrea.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's married now. He has his wife Lexi, so it could be fun to see them even just like make an appearance. But
yeah. Lexi, real quick, one question. How good of friends with you were?
Lexi Wood?
Yeah, that's a different Lexi. But like you said the word Lexi. How close were you before?
How close were you?
What was your question?
No, it actually is very warm.
No,
in
it's
here.
warm. They have the AC off. We're almost done.
No, so Lexi and I were Instagram friends.
Okay.
So we followed each other on Instagram. And we would comment on each other's posts all the time. And I was like, oh my God, this girl is so cute. And then we met at an influencer event, which I never go to those.
Yeah, you're not a big influencer event girl.
I don't like socializing.
Yeah.
And if I'm not getting, no offense, if I'm not getting paid, I'm not going. But so we met at one of those and we sat next to each other at the dinner and we totally hit it off. And then we took a bus ride home. It was in the Hamptons, so we took a bus ride home that night and we just like giggled the whole time in the bus drinking rosé together. And I had mentioned Summer House to her, and that was 2 years before she ended up getting casted.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So I didn't even have any hand in her coming on the show.
Years before that.
Yeah, that happened organically. And then, so she reached out and she was like, hey, I'm joining Summer House. And I was like, amazing. So we'd only met once and we were like Instagram. So
it wasn't this strong friendship.
No.
Because a lot of, when I did again, I always like to put it out to the listeners and see what they say. And a lot of them were asking about the relationship before and after. It feels like it was a Instagram friend thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're going to wrap with this section and then we're done. We're going to get your trading secret. But we have to touch on it. Everyone wants to know, love and money, you and Kyle.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys have any type of systems or anything that you do? You both have big incomes coming in. You got equity in different businesses. You have all this stuff going on. Like, how do you guys manage it? How do you split bills? Do you have any hard rules? Any advice out there for people that are like in that world, splitting bills with their significant other and things like that? Yeah,
so one thing that Kyle and I do, we have separate bank accounts.
Okay.
We do not have, we never combine bank accounts. We have separate bank accounts. We always have. Maybe one day when we have kids, we'll figure that out. But like right now, it's just easier to keep it separate.
Yeah.
That way he can spend his money on what he wants to. I can buy my things and he can't say anything about it.
Your little $15 thing.
My $15 in my bag. Yeah, exactly. He's like, what the hell are you buying? I was like, it's not your money. It's none of your business.
You stay away.
But, he pays rent and the bills. And then I'm buying, I've decorated the whole apartment. I was making a lot of those big purchases. I do all the food, everything else that's around the apartment, I'm purchasing. Okay. So we sort of work it out that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think that's great. You gave one piece of advice for people to highly consider a prenup.
Yep.
Knowing what you know now, living together and all the businesses and working all in that, is there any other piece of advice you give to anybody as it relates to just money management, maybe something you would have done differently?
I think the biggest thing is, if you can, keeping your accounts separate. I always thought I was going to have a very traditional lifestyle. I was going to get married. We were going to have one bank account. He was going to go off at work. I was going to stay home with the kids. I was going to have his credit card, spend his money. But there's something very powerful, if you're able to, about having your own money and just having your own account.
Okay.
And even if it's not a ton of money, just having your own income in your own account in some capacity, just having your own, individuality. It's like a safety net too.
Huge.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Amanda, we have talked all things here from your life before the show, to Swiffer Sweep and Mop Deluxe, to the dogs, to Summer House. all the things, all the different moving parts, A to Z.
The Labubus,
Lafufus, the Lexis, the Pages, all the things. So thank you for coming on Trading Secrets. But as you know, we got to wrap with a trading secret. So I was on my plane right here. I'm like, I wonder what's Amanda going to bring to the table today? So what trading secret you got for me? What can you leave us with?
I asked Kyle, and he left me a voice.
I
asked Kyle, and he left me a voice memo.
What did you ask him?
What should my trading secret be?
Okay. When did you ask him this?
This morning.
What did he say back?
You want me to play it for you?
He left you an audio note.
No, he left me a legitimate audio
for this
note.
Business breakdown. Here we go.
Okay, guys,
Kyle,
this is straight
Kyle
from Kyle's
Cook
mouth.
/ Amanda's trading secret. What do we got?
Every brand wants to have a lifestyle component. Every brand wants to be community built and community focused. As a public figure and kind of quote unquote an influencer, there's a very unique opportunity to do just that. So with Amanda Batula Swim, I literally built it in the public eye. I tapped my community.
He's talking as me.
Built the brand based on real-time feedback. And every company wants to be nimble, in addition to being community-focused and lifestyle-driven. But if you can actually react in real time and take feedback into consideration when you do your next drop, et cetera, you have an opportunity for not only people to feel involved, but for people to feel like they're kind of buying in because they're watching you not only build in real time, but also respond and react in real time.
And
that was pretty good. That was pretty.
That's my trading secret.
So that's a trading secret. You can give us one little tap on that. Give us a little cherry on top. How would you add to that?
No, it's all about community. I think that the strength that I have is, like he said, being able to tap into your community and get feedback real time and make those changes and, you know, leverage my community and the platform that I've been given. I literally created swimsuits based off of people's feedback from my first drop.
Yeah.
And I think that that's huge.
I love it. There are the people out there that are like, they're a star in their own way. You're such a unique star. Like, you really are, and you're blowing up. It's fun to watch. I told my mom's always a big Bravo person. So when I have someone up for Bravo, I have to tell her. The first thing she said was, she is someone that just exudes class, and I love that.
Oh, that's so sweet. She clearly hasn't watched the show too much.
But she sees you on Instagram.
Oh, thank you.
So, Amanda, thank you so much for Trading Secrets. We can't wait to watch this season, and we will stay tuned to everything you have going on.
Yeah,
Before we
sounds
do,
good.
though, tell us, like, where can people find everything?
At Amanda Batula.
Okay.
And at Amanda Batula Swim.
Okay.
And at Drink Loverboy and at High Flower Boy. And I think that's it.
All the things. Make sure you check out Amanda Batula Swim, too. The pieces are awesome. You're killing it. Amanda, thank you for being on Trading Secrets.
Thank you.